Hello, I'm your friendly neighborhood white hat hacker, and I've been hired by your organization to infiltrate your system from an undisclosed location to show areas that you can improve upon in cybersecurity to prevent more insidious hackers from penetrating your system and stealing information of both you and your customers. The purpose of HVAC systems is to improve comfort and reduce energy consumption and increase the life cycle of utilities. While this can sound like a purely good thing, it also opens up your system to a lot of cyber attacks from undisclosed locations such as this. The purpose of cyber attacks is to initiate access to your network and plant a foothold. This is done by targeting PLCs, workstations, and IoT devices. Because once the hacker has a foothold, they can move up the system to a part that gives them more access and control of the network and devices. They do this by targeting the previously mentioned devices as well as networking equipment such as routers, hubs, and switches, and so on. Once they're in a higher position where they control devices in the network, they'll then disrupt work of PLCs in order to create chaos. And then once they do that, they'll try to find a way so that the malware persists in the network between reboots. Communication networks and building automation systems typically use a two-tiered hierarchical model with a control level and a backbone. The control level consists of sensors and actuators that interact with the environment and perform control tasks. The backbone connects multiple subnetworks that provide interconnection with possible foreign networks through Internet Protocol networks. It also has nodes that require global views of the entire system. These are called management nodes. There are two different types of communications between the control and the backbone, with them being process data that which largely works with data from the sensor and management data, or services which focus on data that does configuration and maintenance. Both can easily be taken advantage of if access is given to the wrong people. Now let's look at some of the networks that make use of the communications that we just went over. These are our LONworks, BACnet, and your European Installation Bus. Let's start with LONworks. LONworks provides a four-step challenge response mechanism. For a sender that wants to send a transmission, the program sends a bit message that the receiver replies with a 64-bit random number, which is then put through a calculation by both the sender and the receiver. This creates a shared key, which when compared can authenticize that the correct people are getting what you were sending. The problem is this authentication only works one way, as it only verifies the sender's identity, while the identity of the receiver cannot be checked. What makes this a four-step challenge that it always sends four messages for authentication. So someone would need to instruct all of them and do the correct calculations to access the data. Each node in the system can only use one authentication key, which means once you have the key to one of them, you have the key to all of them. Next, let's focus on BACnet. BACnet uses several services to protect data, including but not limited to data confidentiality, integrity, and freshness. These mechanisms use data encryption standard algorithms and a trusted key server which generates and distributes the keys that are used to communicate between the two nodes. Though this might seem like a strong system, BACnet also has several security flaws in the form of the generation and distribution of keys. These keys are not cycled out, so anyone with an old key can access data and be able to communicate between devices. The key server, while a nice thing, also holds the data of all the keys in the system. So if the key server ever suffered from an attack, then the person would have all the keys and be able to access just about any of the devices on the system. On top of that, the data encryption standard uses small keys that are only 56 bits, which are susceptible to brute force attacks, which send randomly generating numbers in mass to find a valid key. Finally, we're going to focus on European Installation Bus. The European Installation Bus is a system that allows integration of subsystems with a special demand on security of the control network, which broadens the application area and it lets it maintain downward compatibility. While this is good for integration into the network, this also has a lot of holes in security. It only provides a basic access control scheme based on clear text passwords with many varying levels of access that are defined with different sets of privileges. It also doesn't support mechanisms that generate and distribute keys, so the keys must be uploaded to the device manually, which is normally overseen by a system administrator to ensure that it happens in a secure environment. Another shortcoming is that it doesn't allow parallel connections. So if a node has already established a connection, whether that is a legitimate connection or not, this will result in it will make it so that no other nodes can connect to it. This can lead to a denial of service attack locking you out of those nodes. Thank you for your time. I hope this has been an informative experience for you. I will I will return control of the system to you.